This is That One Audition with Alyshia Ochse.
Jonny, I am really excited to have you here. We're going to start, I like to start in the beginning.
Okay.
So, as a middle child of a seamstress and a professional football
Okay.
being soccer, right? Yes.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. My father, Chris, and my mother, Beba, I was born on an island on the island of Cyprus in the Mediterranean. I'm Cypriot by birth. I won't tell
Oh,
you my real name. I like to keep all these things a little bit more, bit of a mystique going on. But my mother was a seamstress, like most people were, and she learned to seamster when she was very young. And by the age of 14, 15 years old, she was teaching older women to sew. And she would walk from the villages in the mountains, from one village to another, setting up small camps of women learning how to sew. And it was amazing, really, because she would walk. I've done those hills driving. It's exhausting just driving them. She would be paid by Singer sewing machine. And this is how Singer sewing machine. I don't know if your actor friends want to hear about this story, but I'm going to tell it to you anyway.
I want to hear it. Yes.
Singers used to sell their products by employing young women like my mother to go into the mountains of these villages and women how to sew, and then they'd get the bug and want to buy machines, and that's what she did during the summer, and that's how she made her living when she was a very young girl.
So then having these two, you've got a professional athlete, you've got somebody who's makeshifting clothes. How do you then realize, you know what, acting's not only going to become a hobby, I'm going to make this a profession? Like, when does this percolate for you?
I have a mentor. His name is Robert Tanich, who was my school teacher. But before he was my school teacher, he was a playwright, a very successful playwright, while he was at Oxford, and he had plays produced, and he, like all writers, struggled, I'm sure, but always had his part-time job, and his part-time job was his teaching. He used to teach me. He taught me at the highest level you get at school, which is A level, and I loved him. He was a great man. He put me in a show. He decided to put on a show. He was also a playwright as well as a school teacher, obviously. He decided to put me in a show, and it was an adaptation of Ovid's Chariot of the Sun.
Mhm.
And it was a double bill with Oscar Wilde's The Ballad of Reading Gaol. And he designed it and he put it on and he used us actors, us children, to perform. And I got the bug then. And I asked him to give me a helping hand to get into drama school because I didn't know how to go about it. I didn't know anything. I was just so green. My mother and my father who weren't in that world. There was nobody in my world that was artistic at all, ever. And he said, come back to me in 3 years' time. If you're still serious, I'll look after you. And he was true to his word. 3 years later, he said, come on over. And he helped me find audition pieces. And we hammered it out. And he's amazing. He's 94 now, 93,
Oh my
94.
gosh,
I still
yes.
see him when I go to London. We occasionally go to the theatre. It's very difficult to take him to the theatre because it's a whole job to get him there. And he still goes to the theatre 3 times a week at least. And he has filing cabinets full of all the plays he's ever seen. He has seen over 10,000 plays. He has reviewed every single one of them. And sometimes in the early days, just for his own interest. But he has been published as a playwright. So he's still around. He's still kicking. Hopefully, he'll hang in for a little bit longer and make it to 99, hopefully. But I see him whenever I can, really.
I'm sure he's incredibly proud
Yeah.
of where you've come from. Will you walk me through your RADA audition? What you remember of it? Come
Yeah,
on.
I do. I remember it, but it's that nervous thing. You go into this room. By this time I've done a couple of auditions, and I'm kind of getting used to the routine of going into rooms and you get into this room upstairs at Gooch Street. I think it was. I can't remember the name of the street. I can't remember the name of the street. Oh my God! And you wait. And you get called down to do the audition, and you do your audition. The first one I did, I'm pretty sure was Casca. I think Robert, my mentor, he said, let's do something different. Rather than do a speech from a well-known speech, let's cut out something and we'll make it our own. And we did. He cut out the bits of Casca and made it into a speech. So it was completely original. And I did Casca and I think, Gethin Price from the comedians and went down well. I got a call back. Oh, you have to go back up to the room and you get a phone call. And this phone call will either say, come back, go home, or go, yeah, we don't want you. Go home. Or you go back to the office and you go back to the office and they say, I would like to see you again. Can you come on such and such a date? And we go back. And then you've got to think of two other pieces to do. So of course, rush off to Robert again and go, I need two more pieces. I need two pieces. Can you get me two? And we went through two more pieces. And I can't remember. I think Lenny from The Homecoming, I think, pin to play. And I did Bottom as my Shakespeare, Bottom, the waking up scene. And it went down a storm. I don't know whether they'd just come back from break. It went down hysterically funny. It was a joy to be part of that, to have that feeling. There was a director who was watching, along with the principal, a guy called David Perry, and he just roared with laughter. And I think he basically got me in because I think he laughed so heartily, so hard, so heartily that there was no question that there were going to be.
You were getting in at that
I
point.
kind of knew that I'd done all right, but then I got a. And then the principal at the time said he was just giggling. He just said, "Look, it won't be long now. You'll know soon. You'll know soon." And I took that to mean I'll get an answer. But it was such a way that he said it that I kind of thought, "What is that? A yes?"
That's a yes.
That's a yes. Yeah.
Okay, so then I had never heard of this award before, but I'm sure people in London have heard this many a times. The Hannum Clark Award, you win that upon graduation from RADA?
Yes, there are many awards you can win on graduation. There's the gold, silver, and bronze award. I didn't get any of those. And there's certain ones. The Hannum Clark Award is it's the Noddy Prize. It's the prize for dialect, which you don't deserve because I struggle with dialects as much as any other person. So I don't know how I wangled that one. I think I did one. I did the Birmingham accent and I did a North London accent, which to me is no different to a Southern London accent. So I don't know. It's a bit of a sham.
It sets you up. It sets you up in a really great way because I was curious. I've talked to a lot of people that have actually gone to RADA, and there always seems to be a point in their training, which I was curious, having the backing of your mentor, having an audition that goes that great for RADA. Was there ever a moment in this training where you're like, that's it, I can't do this? Or was it the freight train of like, this is all clicking, this is all
No, it
working?
was a nightmare. I kind of struggled, to be honest with you. I decided, and it may be to do something to do with the way RADA taught. It was production based. So you always have a production that you're working on from day one, actually from the second semester, so it's second year thing. And I struggled because I went in thinking, okay, I got in, great. Now I've got to learn how to act. Whereas in other schools, it is we've got you, we've got the raw Jonny Coyne here. Let's mold this raw Jonny Coyne and keep the rawness and find what he's good at and shape them. I kind of thought I had to get rid of all that and be something else, an actor, whatever that was. I thought I had to discard myself of all that stuff and become something. And so I don't know.
At what point did you realize it's more keeping your authenticity and then just learning the skill set? What was there a pivotal moment in RADA, or is it way after when you're on stage?
10 years later, I thought everybody else seems to have held on to their authenticity, and I shed mine. And I think I lost a little something along the way. I think what made David Perry laugh so much was my naivety. And the more you do, the more plays you do, the more you read, the more any kind of acting work that you do, the more you learn. And somehow this precious little thing, this naivety disappears and you become knowing. And it's death, isn't it? It's once you start, you think you know what you're doing. You're not playing anymore. And I think I lost a little something precious that day.
Okay, so then I want to know, coming out of RADA, and you said it almost took 10 years, you're straight into a bunch of theater work
Straight off. Yeah.
straight away. So it felt like RADA did really prepare you for in
Yeah.
that world. And but what was the audition experience getting out? Like I love hearing the terrifying auditions in theater world. The one where everything you know is on the line and you either blew it or you knew it at that point of being like you just identified being consciously skilled, right? Going into RADA, you were unconsciously unskilled, and that was really kind of gravitating towards that authentic self. Then you learn this skill set, and then you're like consciously learning a skill set, and it feels really clunky. Ultimately, 10 years later, to get to that unconsciously skilled place where you're like, authentic self is coming, you have the tools, you're not thinking about it as much, it's not so orchestrated. So I want to hear about some of your early theater auditions. I know everybody's going to want to
Well,
hear.
yeah, okay, so where can I start? There were many auditions, and I felt under tremendous pressure to get going. Not,
Especially after this award. I know you say that it's not a big deal, but I would say that it puts a little bit more light on you, don't you think, or no?
it's just an award that was, I'm sure my group of actors in the same group with me will be laughing their socks.
Okay, we
But
won't make it a big deal.
named Hannum Clark as his what? It's my one and only award, and I'm putting it up there. But it's, it's as far as I'm concerned, it's meaningless. But I felt that there was an urgency to get going. I I felt in 6 months' time, there'll be a new bunch of kids coming out of drama school, and their focus will be on them. And you're not new anymore, so you've got to strike while the iron is hot, and you've got to book a job. And thankfully, I booked a job within about a month, and it was to play 7 parts in Antony and Cleopatra in a touring production of Antony and Cleopatra, in a touring production around the southern coast of England. So you got beautiful Dorset, Cornwall, Devon, all these beautiful areas, and so it was one night stands.
Okay.
Get there, you put the play up, you take the play down, and then you get shuffled off into some, not a hotel, excuse me, it'll be some local person who's taking you in for the evening. And then you have to make chats with them when you're tired and you want to go to bed. And they'll say, oh, we didn't see the play, but we decided to take you in. And go, okay, so we've got nothing to talk about. You can't talk about me or anything like that. So can I just go to bed, please? And yeah, so that was the start of my career. There's 7 parts. I can't name them all. I was literally coming off stage and going back on with a different costume just thrown on. And
Yeah.
and after about the third character, you get a from the audience.
Yes, yes, yes. When they realize it's you coming back. Yes.
With nothing to change your thing, but maybe a change of hairstyle going this way and a change of hairstyle going that way. That's all you had.
Yes. And it keeps at this point though, too, since you're touring around, coming right out of RADA, are you able to garner representation, or at this point are you putting yourself up for these plays? When does the
Yeah,
professional track come in? When does somebody grab you up?
I think it was after that. I didn't really have an agent. I'm trying to remember. I don't think I had an agent until that first job was done. I think how I got that audition, and it was like my first audition, and so I booked my first audition, as it were. And I think these guys who run these regional theatres and these regional touring companies, they're out there looking for fresh blood. And you won't know, but there were rules. You need to get your union card, and you can only get your union card if there's a theatre company that's got a union card to give you. So getting the job was one thing, making sure they had a union card to go with it was another thing. And without the union card, you couldn't work up your weeks because at that time you had to do 30 weeks in the regions before you could even think about doing the West End. So there were rules, and I felt an urgency to get that motor going. Yeah, so there was no representation. I think I just got the audition, and I think after that job, I think I started seeking representation, and I finally got some guy, and it was fine.
And was that guy then helping you mostly just with theater? Or when, because I know your first major TV role, 1990, right? London's Burning.
Like it's burning. Yeah, I did very little TV. I wasn't even interested in TV. I really wasn't. I felt they won't want me on TV, so I'll just do the theatre. I'll just do the theatre. That's what I'll do. And my instinct was to try and book as many regional theatres as possible, just get them all under my belt. Because as I said to you, I kind of didn't feel I knew acting. I felt I needed to have as much experience as possible. I wanted to book as many kind of productions as possible under my belt to know that I've covered every possible aspect of this business we call show, to try and get as many plays under my belt. So there was that urgency and no thought of career at all.
No thought of making it as a career
No,
choice.
no, 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 not even thought of thinking it as a strategy. It was just do lots. Just do lots
Just
of
volume. Just
just
get as
volume. Exactly. Get as much as you can and learn along the way.
good
Yeah.
strategy. It's really worked out really well.
The TV and film landscape, it's constantly changing, but traditional actor training has largely remained the same.
It's focused on a theater model whose main goal is to help you stretch the expression of your instrument. That's why you can have years of training,
From scene study classes to audition classes.
to even an MFA, and still not be able to book a 2-line co-star.
That's why we created the Bridge for Actors.
A collection of tech, craft, and business online courses to teach you the skills that you need to go from a student of acting
To a working actor.
So was it then your agents or your team that was like, here, let me just start throwing you some television? What kind of brings you into the British television and then into American television eventually?
I love that you call it a team. It's something.
Was it some guy being like, hey, Johnny, I want to make some money off you, man. Let's
Exactly,
just
yeah.
throw some of that stuff out here
I didn't start calling it a team until I came out here.
to,
Then I felt I
America.
could legitimately call it a team. But no, these guys, there is a sort of gentleman's amateur quality about the kind of level of agent that I was working with at the time. I didn't think I booked a really good agent or team until I came out here, really. I left the guy that was actually quite a decent guy and a very good agent in certain aspects. But for what I decided, for what I eventually decided I wanted to do, which was like have a career, an actual career, and have a strategy, when I decided that I wanted to do more screen work, then I didn't think they'd be up to it. And I knew I had to come out here to do it.
So what was the shift like then going from being in Britain, having a little bit of television and British television to then an American production for the first time, or even an American audition? I'm curious, did you get a couple of people here? Maybe not quite your team yet. How did you pull yourself from London to here?
Okay, so I was on a show called Sharp's Peril, and it was with Sean Bean, and it's about these soldiers out in India at the turn of the century, and all the young actors were talking about going out to LA to do pilot season. I didn't know what pilot season was. That's how insular I was in my world. I knew my place in the world, and I stuck with it. And I thought, that sounds interesting. What's that? Pilot season. And I kind of read up and found out about it and thought, oh, okay. And I decided to pack my bags. My son said to me, Dad, if you don't do it now, you're never going to do it. So just go ahead, you owe it to yourself, just get out there. He was 20 at the time, he's fine. And so I decided to pack my bags and rented out my house in London. And I was told by somebody, you got to give it a year. You can't just go and pretend that and you got to get a visa, work visa, otherwise. And so I prepared everything, stored everything away, rented out my house, and then came to America for 1 year.
Did you go to New York first? Because you come straight to LA.
Straight to LA, because that's all I knew. And luckily, I had a friend out here who had just scored a few things, and he guided me. And he told me about the process of the audition, which is like you go into a room. There is no sort of, hi, Johnny, how you doing? Well, it's lovely to meet you. Let's kick it around a little bit. Let's play. Let's put you over there. And we just, no, there's none of that. It is like you walk in and they just nod and they just go. He prepared me with that. And having fully armed with that knowledge, I was already tuned in, ready to do exactly that. That's how I was going to do my auditions from now on in. And it was great that he'd given me that information, because I think I would have fallen to pieces in the first week.
Yeah. Yeah. I just, like you said, I think it's an invitation. Even in New York, it felt different than it did in LA versus this cold room of LA. Or
Yeah.
just get to the work, maybe chit chat later, if they even look up,
Yeah, exactly.
if they even give you that time and attention. I want to circle back to you said it took 10 years before you got back to your authentic self.
But once I get back to it, I didn't say get back. I said that it was about 10 years where I realized that everybody else seemed to have their rawness still there. I guess I'd lost it, to be honest with you. The skill set that I had was what it was. I don't know that I ever investigated anything more than what I did at drama school. I've never taken classes beyond that, not because of any vanity or anything like that, partly laziness, partly fear of having to, work.
You've just been working. To me, you've just been working. If you haven't, where would you fit class in?
No, exactly.
Where would
Well,
you fit it in? You're already doing the work, right? Constantly in process and learning and watching other people do stuff,
yeah.
running all over the place. So,
I decided that I was going to learn on the job, to be honest. It's out here that they talk more about the process. We don't
yeah.
really talk about the process in London.
And only on this show, Johnny. You're not going to talk about the process. I don't talk about the process.
I don't even know what my process is, to be honest with you.
I was going to ask. You have a process now.
Yeah, it's called panic. I get the sheet and then I get the script as well. And I go, I can't read the script. I've got time to read the script. I've got to learn the lines. And so I kind of work backwards. I try and ascertain what information I can from the 5 pages that I've been given. And I may glance at the script to get the tone of the piece, maybe the first 10 pages, maybe. I find it very hard. I'm a very slow reader. I skip pieces. I think I may be a little bit dyslexic. I don't really know, or just lazy. But I do it backwards. So I try and get what I can from the sides and then go, oh, I don't quite understand that bit there. And may get a friend to explain it to me, or I might look it up and see what it is that I should be playing. Yeah. But so that my process is a lot of it is just learn your lines. The information that you got is there. It's kind of the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah. Script analysis. It's right there in the script.
I've never been the kind of guy who goes and does hours of research unless I need to know about something. I had to play once a guy with Asperger's, and I had to go out and find out. And I've met people with Asperger's to just study them a little bit, just talk to them and see what they were like, just get an idea who they were. And I played a junkie in something and I didn't know anything about it. My world is very safe and secure and I've never had that issue. So I went to Alcoholics Anonymous, NA, and sat in with them and talked to them. And they didn't believe that I wasn't a user. They just assumed that I was lying to myself.
Genius. Way to inhabit the role, right?
Yeah, they literally looked into my eyes and said, it was difficult for me to accept it to begin with. And I'd go, no, you don't understand. No, I really am an actor. I'm studying. No, it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
Your eyes are looking clearer now. My eyes are always clear.
Your sobriety is really working for you, Johnny, in this moment.
Exactly. So so that's any research I've done for things that I absolutely know nothing about. As far as I'm concerned, it's what's in the paperwork. And like I say again, it's probably laziness on my part.
I don't think so. Look at, I call it riding the bike. Look how long you were riding the bike for, from RADA to being on stage and running around. To you, it's probably almost second nature. You don't have to work as hard when you've already had the 10,000 hours of looking at scripts. Even if we go back to your incredible mentor, he was already helping you do the script analysis, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you're, to me, I'm not going to let you just throw it away.
Okay, look, I'll be honest. I booked before I came out here, I averaged about 3 theatre shows a year.
I mean,
exactly.
You don't get any better practice than that. That is exactly what you're doing. You know how to pick up a script. So then I want to ask about, you say panic. So I want to go to a specific one because your American breakout role, at least from my perspective, you might have a different viewpoint on this, was the warden Eden James and J.J. Abrams' Alcatraz. I want to know what the audition process was for that. Specifically, if you're saying that you panic when you get auditions, how did you do that? And did you know you were reading for the warden, or did that character kind of come along the way? Was that your initial audition?
I was just an audition. I was actually on a tour with my ex-wife. We get on very well. She came out here and we just on a little driving thing and I got an audition. And it's nothing worse when you don't really want to do an audition. You get it when you don't want it.
Always.
And I got it. And she was in the other bed in this hotel. She was in the other bed and we just sitting there. And I was reading it and I just looked at her. I said, I can do this. I said to her, I could tell immediately that I could do this part. I could do it. At least I could do this speech. At least I could do this scene. I know I can do it. And I think the audition was for the following Tuesday. So I went in with April Webster, and she was wonderful to me. She was just beautiful. I don't know if she'd been primed that I was some sort of genius.
She is one of the casting directors that really cares. She gives you the London vibes. Where she's, come on in.
Yeah, yeah.
Do?
And she gets the microphone and go, oh my God, I got a microphone. That's fantastic. I don't have to belt it out. And the camera's really close. And you know that you can actually just say the lines at a moderate tone. And at the end of that audition, she just gave me the big thumbs up. And as I was walking out, she says, you're probably going to have to come in on Thursday to meet the producers. I went, okay. I thought I did a good job. I don't expect much of I have no expectations whatsoever. And I went in on Thursday and I got a great response from them again. I wore the same suit. I'm not going to change anything. I wore the same suit, the same jumper, the same tie, the same glasses. I thought, they're my lucky outfit. So I wore exactly the same stuff. I'm not going to change a thing. And I went back in, did a nice job. And I thought, okay, I don't expect anything. But my agent that Sunday night, I think it was, he says, they want to test you at Warner Brothers. I went, and I'd heard from my friend who'd primed me about auditions. He had told me about the test. I didn't know anything about a test, but he had told me about the test. So I went, okay, I knew it was a big deal. And my manager said, it's Tuesday, you're going in for the test. The process is brutal. It's just, I don't want to
It's almost inhumane, but also it feels so I would think that you would thrive in that environment of having the 60 suits in the room, how we used to test, right? Now we don't test that way, but.
No. Exactly. I think it was the last few times that was tested. Yes, I did thrive because I had nothing to lose. Because in the waiting room, there were the three guys. There was me and two other guys, both of them who I knew, both of them very successful. They went in order of seniority. So I was last. So I had to sit through the first guy going in. I'm sorry, I can't remember their names. And I'd seen him a million times. I went in there and they were laughing and they were just thumbs up and big applause at them and hey, whoa, like that. And he comes out, okay, guys, and I thumbs up. I went, okay.
There's nothing worse than well, then you have nothing to lose. They're like, he's hired, so whatever.
Yeah. And then the next guy goes in and great for him. And then it seemed to get a great response. And then it's me. And by this time, the nerves. People who I think I've suffered from it. It's got worse for me over the years. It's definitely got worse. I've nearly not walked on stage because my nerves are so bad that I'm terrified of going on stage. I think I might actually have a stage fright. About a year earlier when I was in London, I nearly didn't go on stage because I was so terrified. And there I was, my nerves are jangling. Your skin feels raw from it because your palms are sweating and you go in there and I went in with these glasses or something like that, and I said, and I'd forgotten to bring the script with me. Now I didn't need the script; I'd learned the script, I knew the script, but it was my prop.
Yeah.
It was the prop I was using, and I'd been practicing with. And I thought, oh Jesus! And everybody's looked around. I said, "Where's my paper? I think I've lost my paper. And there was a little bit of panic from everyone, and I said, that's all right. I just grabbed everything, and I think that saved me. Because I think it took away that, oh, fuck it, it's done. I'll just do it. And there was an element in there of me knowing that I'm the only one who's got nothing to lose in the whole thing. So it went well. And by that, I mean, I got all the lines right. That's it. That's what I work on. That's it. As far as I get the lines right, I'm home safe. Whether I've given anything to these people, whether I've conveyed any message to my fellow reader, I don't know. All I know is I didn't fuck up, and that's it. And then we had to wait, and it was over the Thanksgiving weekend. Thought, give me a break. They're not going to make their minds up now until after Thanksgiving. And I thought, oh Jesus, come on! Now, right through the whole week and the weekend, and probably Monday, Tuesday, and then it was a yes.
Okay. Okay. I always find it for myself as well as other actors that I have worked with or are part of my community. It's always the ones when you go and you're like, I nailed it. I got it. It's mine that you don't get. And
Yeah.
I've noticed in my 25 years of working, most of the time that I'm like, that was fucking terrible. You should call and apologize. That there's something that happens in that space that makes the human experience, the mirror neurons go off for somebody else. What can you attribute that to in that even audition specifically, or any of the other ones where you play these authoritarian characters and then there's this panic? Do you think it was the panic of them getting to see your humanity that earned you that role? You're an excellent actor. I'm not taking that away.
Absolutely. No, I think maybe they saw a little something. Maybe they saw a little lost boy because I'm always that little lost boy in my head. Maybe they saw a little bit of that guy, that vulnerable boy, and they went, "Oh, look at him! He's adorable. We got to give him the job because he's adorable."
Yeah, it's the opposite of what they thought, right? For the warden. And then here you go and you flip a switch and you turn it on and you're in front of camera, right? So you're there, that person. Because I had a couple of questions of actors that wrote in specifically questions for you about playing the villain. You played the villain in The Blacklist opposite James Spader. You played Allfather in Preacher. You played the corrupt record producer in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Now in The Mandalorian, you have all these authoritative figures, the antagonists pretty much.
Yeah.
And then now I'm getting to talk to you and hear the panic or such an opposition of those traits. Have those characters been specific for you or not specific, like intentional? Or do you think the industry decided who you were and projected this onto you?
There's nothing intentional about my career. Seriously, I think they take a good look at my face and they go, either we want to kill him or he's just going to tell us off. I think so. That's been it. I'm grateful for it. I don't know how I got The Mandalorian.
What do you mean you don't know how you got it? Because I was going to ask about that audition next, because it's one episode of television with Jon Favreau, and then
once in a while in an actor's career, once in a while, you get that lovely moment where somebody's just calling you for an offer and you go, why can't it always be like this? Because I'm no good at auditions. I panic. I don't read my script. I look at the lines. I just want to get the line. Just once in a while. And Ma Rainey was like that. Ma Rainey was an offer. I don't know where it came from. I honestly, to this day, don't know where it came from. I'd never worked with these New York-based actors, these wonderful actors. I didn't know that Denzel and
Viola, Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah, all these guys. They were wonderful actors, and I didn't know how I got the job. So I always feel a bit of what's the term?
The imposter syndrome that we all feel.
Totally. So that was one of those. And then recently, like I said, The Mandalorian, I was told that I was going to be in 4 episodes of Mandalorian, one season 3, and then 3 or 4 episodes in the following season. And I don't know how I got the job. And when Jon Favreau spoke to me, when we first met me and we put the costume on, he just wanted to talk to me about the Shadow Council. And he said, is there anything you want us to see specifically about you? They seemed to be very keen. And I don't know, I said, you give me the job. Haven't you not seen anything? I wanted to say, have you not seen anything? I'm sure he had seen something. Maybe he just saw my face. Maybe he just liked my face. I know I owe a great deal of my career to my face, that I have the kind of interesting...
You give great face, Johnny. You give great face. It's great. I love that at the beginning of this interview, you're like, I don't have a face for television and film. Yes, you do.
Yeah, I have a great face for radio, as we say in England. So I think they must have just seen a little bit of me in something, or my face in something, or maybe they were told by somebody, you got to see this guy. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't care. I'm just happy that it happened. And of course, season 4 went away, and I thought, okay, that's the end of my Star Wars story. And then there was talk about a movie, and then my agent called up and says I think they're gonna put you in the movie. They're talking about putting you in the movie. Okay, fine, all right, good, okay. And then he called back about 2 weeks later and said, no, you're really going to be in the movie. I went, okay. And then I got the contract and a substantial amount of money to me, and saw the name of the character, and I thought, oh, okay. And then a FaceTime, a Zoom call with Jon Favreau, who's going to talk to me about the character he's decided to do for me. And it's all a bit of a whirl. You're just an actor sitting around in LA, going down to the pool, talking to your friends, just pissed off with your career and all that. And suddenly you're talking to Jon Favreau over a Zoom call about what he wants to do with your character. And you can't quite believe it. I still, like I said, I feel like an imposter most of the time, but you go, maybe, just maybe I've got enough experience behind me and they have seen something, just maybe convince yourself of stuff.
Decades of stuff.
Well, yeah.
That is a good, I think, lesson for any actor to learn if you're willing to share some of the conversation that you had with Jon Favreau, because a lot of actors write in and it's, oh, I finally have gotten to this great level where somebody gave me an offer, but I just have to have this director meeting. So in this conversation with Jon Favreau, and he's like, what do you want to do with your character? What is the discussion that you're having to, one, it's like the job's already yours, yes, but what is that conversation? How are you conducting yourself? What questions are you asking, or how are you approaching it to collaborate?
I always bow to authority. And as far as I'm concerned, Jon Favreau's a genius and a nerd. And he knows that world better than I will ever know it. And I didn't have any information about who the character was. I only read the script once, and I had to hand in, I was given an iPad, and I had to sign it in and sign it out and sit in the room by myself in Manhattan Beach. And that's the only time I saw the script. So I was trying to fit myself into it. So I kind of just was guided by him. What do you want? He was telling me what he had these images of the sets and my character, my face with all the costume and everything. And I'm going, this is just unfucking real. And he's telling me what he wants. And I'm going, okay, I'm not going to argue with him.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
What ideas could I possibly have? What ideas could I possibly have? I'd really like to play him like, no, I don't know the character. I don't know anything about the character. You've got it in your head. You've seen my face. You know what you want to do with it. Just fucking give it to me and I'll do it. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And
so were you more in the version of asking him questions versus giving him information?
I just listened to what he said. He would just guide me through what he wanted. He knows. I've had this discussion with an actress friend of mine who kind of texted me once. She said, oh, I don't know what they want from me in this. I don't know what they want from me. And I kind of gave her a little lesson, which it's taken me a while to learn it here. And it's like, you have a quality, you have a presence, you have a quality, you have an essence, and that's what they're buying. They're buying that from you. Don't overthink it. And I gave her, I think I gave her good advice. And she said it was really good advice. She needed to stop worrying about having to put on a limp or a hump or something. She didn't have to think about a character. She knew it had to come from the essence of her. And that's what I've learned being out here, is that you kind of have to go, okay, he likes me. He likes me playing villains. I'll do my villain. I'll try and do it as interestingly as I can. I won't trip over the furniture. I'll get the lines right, like I always do. And hopefully something will happen in that magic. And by the way, it's a film, so they're going to edit shit out anyway.
Exactly. And are you the type of actor that likes to give variation between takes, or are you somebody that kind of sticks to the plan until directed otherwise?
I think I can give variations on things. I have a very solid idea of my delivery, if not part. I certainly have an idea of delivery, partly because of the way I've learnt it and partly because I can't see it said any other way. So I have a very strong idea of how something should be said. And but there was a moment I'm always trying to look for the humor in the character, not so much the comedy, but the humor in it, so that you're playing against the type, especially because I always play the villains.
Yes, yes.
You're playing against him a little bit, so trying to make him a little bit lighter or a little bit. But you remind yourself that I always shoot fat, I always shoot sinister. So whatever I take away from that and put a little bit of soften that up a little bit, that'll just make it more interesting. And so, but he did say at one point, after I'd done sort of various versions, each time me having a little twinkle in my eye that I'm sinister but funny sinister, because he just looked at me and said, "God, Johnny, can we just do a serious one now?" So he just said, "Just play it for real now." And I had to pull back on that and then just give him what he wanted. And actually, when I saw the film,
I was just going to ask, which one did he keep? The serious one or
all the serious stuff? It's all the serious stuff. No twinkle in my eye. No tone that I gave, which was there was none of the stuff that I thought would give it a little bit of color. It's Star Wars.
Yes.
It's kind of black and white. You can't.
Yeah. Again, you can give the editor and the director so many options. It's fun for you on the day, right? It's fun to keep it all fresh and alive, but then ultimately what ends up on screen, does that make you more curious to go back into theater? Because like you said, you're doing 3 plays usually a year. Are you still at that volume right now?
Oh, no, I did 3 plays. I haven't done theatre for 16 years. My God. No, I think after my panic attacks and my fear of tests and things like that, I don't know that I can go back on stage unless it's a really small part, a little cameo in something, just to, and hopefully something funny that I can just enjoy and slowly build back up. I don't know that I can really. It's definitely something that I'm going to have to deal with at some point because I want to do some more theatre, but I'm in LA most of the time.
Yeah. And you're working. You're always working, Johnny. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it for you.
You say that it never feels like that.
I know it never does for the person, but when we're looking at the resume, when we're looking at IMDb, it's like, geez, this man is just, has there been a valley where you've ever questioned, like you said, imposter syndrome? Has there been dips and what kept you going and what project pulled you out of that valley?
Yeah. I think I've never seriously ever thought about giving up.
Yeah.
Never. We can't. And now, at a certain age where you go, what are you going to give up for? You're giving up everything then. You're just going to retire or something? What are you going to do? So I try and keep as fit as possible and just keep going as much as I can and try and book as much work as I can. Right now, because on the back of The Mandalorian, I'm thinking, what are the possibilities? Likelihood, nothing, but at least I can think like that. And I think that's a positivity. Just keep going for as long as possible.
Keep going. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions if you will play along with me. I want to know, out of everything, theater, television, film, most memorable first day experience.
First day, actually, I think Ma Rainey comes highly on that because I didn't know. The true story behind Ma Rainey was that I got a call saying you're up for Ma Rainey, like an idiot. I didn't know what Ma Rainey was. And they abbreviated it. They didn't call it Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, so I could check it out. They just called it you wanted in Ma Rainey. I went, okay, all right. And next thing I know, this was a Thursday. By Monday, I'm on a plane and flying and being in a room with Chadwick Boseman, Denzel Washington, Viola Davis, Coleman Domingo, Glyn Turman, Michael Potts, and Chadwick Boseman. And, and you're thinking, this is I'm going to make a fool of myself, and they're going to discover that I can't do anything. So that's my first experience. That's it. That comes right at the top of the pile.
Okay. So the list of names that you just gave, plus you've worked with you've worked with so many wonderful, beautiful actors. What's the thing that you've taken away from working with some of them? Some of either how they conduct themselves on set, how they handle the text, how they work. What are some of the things you picked up along the way?
Sam Neill on Alcatraz, we never got to work together because he was in a different timeline to me. He was in the modern world, I was in the past. And so we never got a scene together. But he befriended me, and I loved Samuel deeply. He's such a good man, and he periodically writes to me and tells me what I should do and that sort of thing. And he kind of saw I was a bit lost about how to play. This is like we're talking about one of the most sought after parts
Yeah.
in that season. It was the Warden of Alcatraz on a J.J. Abrams show. Everybody wanted it, and this schmuck got it. You know what I mean? And I could see Sam was a bit, he was very kind. He just pulled me aside and says, Johnny, I think just play it like you're fucking with everybody. And I just thought, yeah, that's what it is. Because I'm trying to find a route through things. And you know these things, these shows, these big complex and big idea shows, they don't know where the story's going.
Exactly.
So you having some sort of backstory, there was a very short backstory that Liz Sarnoff gave me. She said, what about this? And I said, what about that? And she goes, that's great. Let's do that. Let's keep it in the back and we'll work with that. And that's great. It was a very just a character who I was and that sort of thing. Nothing more substantial than that because the arc changes as the stories change. And if we had gone into season 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, not just after season 1, your backstory is pointless at this point because they would have changed so much. And I knew I was aware of that. That was a possibility. So Sam's idea of just playing it like you're fucking with everybody was brilliant for me because it meant that was a decision I had to make every time.
Yeah. One, it gives you that twinkle in the eye
Yeah.
as well that we're all getting to lean in for. And especially for television. Television, I think, is sometimes a really great translation from theater because with theater, you get a character, you're working out, conditioning it with the director. The director's really helping you cultivate it. Television goes the same, right? Week to week, you're getting different scripts. And it's, oh, we're doing this now. Oh, okay. How do I shape it so that I can be versatile from week to week when I'm getting something different all the time?
Exactly. And how does your backstory fit into what's happening now? Because something very abrupt has happened and changes the whole dynamic of a story because they've seen the show wants to go that way now. And you just got to go with it.
Yeah. Okay. What's the one thing you've done that you wish more people would have seen? Your resume is dense. So
I did. It's a theatre piece. It's a theatre piece. It was called Only the Lonely, and it was to play this Asperger's guy. And even if I say so myself, I thought I really did a really cracking job because I resisted. Because there are so many. It's such a broad and a big spectrum for Asperger's and autism that I just wanted to make sure that I didn't do twitchy, blinky kind of acting for the sake of it. That what I did was sincere, honest, and true to this character, and I was very proud of that. I was very proud that I didn't fall down that manhole. And I got some nice responses from people who genuinely thought I was Asperger's because they thought, how did they got a guy in? They got a guy in who's actually he's Asperger's. He's an acting. It's fantastic. No, I wanted to do it properly, and it was my first tiptoe into sort of that. And it was in the studio of the Birmingham Rep, not one of the big theatres. So it was great for me because it was playing it small, and I was so tired of being theatre, big theatre. I just wanted to do something razor small.
this contained. Oh, I wish we could have seen that. I love that both of the roles that you really sunk into the research, even though you say you don't necessarily love doing that, that everybody believed that is just you.
Yeah.
What a testament. Which role do you wish you could steal? You've played so many villains, so many roles in that lane. Is there a role that you haven't gotten to fully explore yet?
No, I don't know. Like I said to you before, it's always lovely to have a surprise with somebody saying to you, I would really like you to play that. And you go, yeah, if that's how you see me, that's what I'll do for you. I've never molded my career at all. It's always been a joy to, it's also miserable when you don't get it, but it's a joy to watch the things move along and you go, really? I'm in a Star Wars, or really? I'm working on an August Wilson thing. This is, to me, it is lovely to let people decide for you what it is that you do. I don't think I'd be a very good star. if I could make my choices, choose what I wanted, because I think I'd always make the wrong choice.
Okay, then on the heels of that, did you audition for Hangover 3 for Todd Phillips, or did they come a-calling?
No, I auditioned for that. It was 3 lines, 4 lines. Yeah. I nearly
Those are the hardest auditions. So tell me, did you come in with the idea of the 3 to 4 lines? What was your approach to that? Because it's so in a different lane of what we've been talking about, even.
Yeah, I didn't know. I'd seen the movies, obviously. I don't remember much about that audition. I didn't even know if Todd was there, to be honest with you. He must have been. He must have been there. Or maybe it was just a room. I can't remember, to be honest with you. Sorry.
No, that's totally fine. When I was researching you, I was like, this is funny that this kind of feels like it's here. But again, it was an audition. It wasn't an offer. So you went in, you earned it. So then tell me this. You've gone from school plays being reviewed in national press to the floor of the George Lucas universe. What would you tell a kid at RADA who is just starting out about what this career actually requires and where they should be spending their time once they get out of school?
The obvious thing to say is really resilience and be prepared to just hammer it out for as long as possible. There've been spells where you go, I can't believe I'm just packing shelves at Toys R Us. Which I did.
You did?
I absolutely did. My son was born and I was a 30-year-old failed actor and I was packing shelves at Toys R Us. Now, you got to tell these students that's what happens. It isn't a career for the faint-hearted. I was being instructed by a 17-year-old guy how to pack the shelves at Toys R Us. And I'll keep saying it. Back in the day, it's humiliating. It's humiliating for me. Maybe not for those guys, and it's a job I'm demeaning in any way, but it was not what I set my life out to do. But I had a kid to bring up, and I had to get the money in. So that's what you could tell students. Fuck the acting and all that stuff. Be resilient.
Yeah. And what day jobs bring you through. I think, thanks for sharing that too, because I think, again, people look at the resume, right? They see from theater to television to these great films, and we don't get to see what fills in between. And I think for actors, that's the one thing that we have to remind everybody. It's not this straight shot. It's not completely linear all the time. You've been doing this for close to 40 years.
Yeah.
So what a career. It's so fun to watch you work. What a great week of research I've had. Thank you for letting me pick into how you're doing things and being honest about it. So the rest of us that feel that imposter syndrome, do keep going. Do keep picking up different random things. And I think what's for you finds you. I really do. Look at all these great random jobs that everybody else wanted so badly, and you're like, oh, whatever. Okay, I think I can do this. And those were the ones that you got the responsibility to do. Yeah.
It's been a joy. It's been a ride. I hope it's not over yet. I'm just going to keep going until they kill me or something.
Just getting started. You just keep going. Where can everybody find you? Are you on Instagram? Are you on?
I'm one Jonny Coyne. It's ONE, Jonny Coyne. That's where you'll find me. And please, I've only got 1,000. Get my numbers up for me.
Follow along. Yes. Follow along. And then obviously all the great work that is coming out right now. You've got a couple other things coming out too, don't you, besides?
I got to think of Salt, which is a little production I did in Cyprus with my friend. He's a lovely guy, Jimmy Rousounis, who wrote this little piece, and I did it as a favor. He said, "I'll get your flight over there. You just come and do me a bit of acting." And I had a little bit of, because I have a little bit of traction and a little bit of kudos at the moment, I helped it to use him to make the film happen a little bit. And so that's the only thing I've got in the pipeline. And it's a great little film. It's about people stealing, of all things, salt. I didn't realize, of course, I'm connected to the salt thing with Mandalorian. But no, it's about the British people demanding control of all the salt in India and in Cyprus and places like that.
Beautiful. I can't wait to see it. And then Star Wars. We got The Mandalorian out. Thank you so much for doing this. This was lovely.